Welcome back to First Take. We knew we would have a decision by today, and here we are. Lane Kiffin will take the LSU head coaching job effective immediately. He will no longer coach his sixth-ranked Ole Miss Rebels in the college football playoff. Kiffin will officially be announced as the head coach later on today. And so, on his way out yesterday of Oxford, he was booed. Here was Lane Kiffin moments after his decision with Marty Smith. Listen to this.
You know that this was a very challenging, difficult day. You know, we went through a lot last night with Keith Carter trying to figure out a way, to make this playoff, run work and be able to coach the team. And at the end of the day, that's his decision. And I totally respect that. I understand that decision.
Some people will look at this and say, okay, it is the best season in the history of the school, the best era in the history of the program. A playoff team with an opportunity to win a national championship. So what does LSU offer in your mind that Ole Miss doesn't?
I don't know all that. It just was something that I prayed on and made a family decision. And maybe it's right, maybe it's wrong. But I think a lot of times, you just go prove things right. And that's what we're going to do when we get there.
Okay, Paul Finebaum joins us now because he has been living and breathing with every move Lane Kiffin makes, it feels like, over the last couple of weeks. Paul, we've had a day now to kind of let this marinate. Your thoughts on how all this went down with Lane Kiffin?
It's just so typical of Lane Kiffin to do something so utterly destructive, and that's what he did. It's hard to believe, really, almost anything he said there in that interview. If he wanted to coach these kids, as he put it, he could have. And the simple answer is he would have remained the Ole Miss football coach, where he began the season, where he told these young men, we have a chance to win a championship, and they still do. And what does he do? What Lane Kiffin always does. He lights a match to the castle that he built, and he runs out of town in the middle of the night, although this was in broad daylight. It's utterly disgraceful, and there's no getting around it. And Lane Kiffin trying to blame others, trying to blame the adults in the room is just so comical. I'm not terribly enthusiastic when I say all this, Shay, because I've said it so many times before. We talked about this when Al Davis fired him. We talked about this when he walked out on the University of Tennessee after 1 year in the middle of the night, recruiting the players on his roster as he head to the airport. Remember Alabama, Nick Saban gave him a chance, and that was after he got fired on the tarmac at Southern Cal. Nick Saban gave him a chance, and he did it again by being unprepared for a national semifinal game. Saban fired him a week before the national championship game. He went to Florida Atlantic, and finally a major school gave him a shot again, Ole Miss. He built a program. Last year he would have left for the University of Florida. 2 years ago, he would have gone to Alabama had they bothered to call him, which they didn't. And this year, he did the most predictable thing. He walks out on his team.
So this is the perspective that I need to give everybody who has been following this issue or this particular situation. What Lane Kiffin did was it in the best interest of Lane Kiffin.
Correct.
I don't have an issue with that. But this is what I have an issue to. When a kid transfers or goes into the transfer portal, now we're looking at that kid to say, oh, why is he going to different schools? Why is he doing this? Well, coaches have been going into the transfer portal since the beginning of time. Ole Miss, Lane Kiffin, LSU is, in essence, the same thing. We all have to do what's best for our careers. Lane Kiffin in this dynamic and not being able to coach the team is a little different than what another coach is dealing with as well. It's insider trading. It's tampering. You have an opportunity to lure not only players, but staff members and key members that you will necessarily strip, and I mean strip an organization, a school for everything that they have, and now you turn into an instant foe overnight. So why in the world would I allow you to have the ability to coach a team, take everything that we have as a team, and you will have an opportunity to play us as well? No. I think what Ole Miss did was something that was needed to do. Is just basic business practice. But with Lane's decision, everything has a cause and effect. We've seen this situation happen, and it looks like Lane Kiffin wanted to have his cake and eat it too. And you don't get to do that in this type of situation, and that's the reality of everything.
Stephen A?
Man, put keep poor Finebaum right there. I want to make sure I see him when I say what I'm about to say. This is ridiculous, okay? Y'all just kill me with this stuff. Lane Kiffin took a better job. Now, I am not here to be an apologist for him at USC, at Tennessee, at Alabama, because you know how I feel about my man Nick Saban. You know how bad you got to be, how unprepared you got to be for the man to fire you a week before the national championship game. I am not here to be some kind of damn apologist for Lane Kiffin under any other circumstances. But in this particular situation, to act like he's committed a crime, for people to be, you're in Oxford, Mississippi, okay? And you are booing this brother out of town after he's won 74% of his games, after he spent the last 4 years being a top 4 program in terms of wins in the entire college football landscape. Only Ohio State, Oregon, Georgia have been better. This is what he brought. You were nothing before him. The last time you won anything of relevance was when John F. Kennedy was president. Ain't that what you said earlier on television? If it wasn't you, Paul Finebaum, it was somebody else. John F. Kennedy, as in John F. Kennedy, the Marilyn Monroe, all of that stuff going on in the 60s, before I was born, before Cam was born, before Shay was born. I don't know about you, Paul. Here's the point that I'm making. You take all of those things into consideration, okay, and you look at it, and what does this man do? The man shows up. He wins 74% of his games. He's got you at 11-1. Florida and LSU job opened up. Nobody told them to fire those cats in the middle of the season. The opportunity presented itself. One would say LSU is a blue blood opportunity. And it ain't like you afforded him the luxury of saying, okay, we can wait until the end of the season for you to make a decision. It wasn't just LSU. It was Mr. Carter, the AD at Ole Miss. We want an answer. We want it right now. Now, I get the transfer portal, NIL, and all of that stuff may have played a role in terms of time, and I understand that. But that ain't on Lane Kiffin. That's why you got Senator Ted Cruz from Texas, along with Senator Cory Booker from New Jersey, literally devising plans on Capitol Hill to come together to get the college football landscape in order so we don't have these kind of problems. But that's a political issue. That's that political apparatus subject, at the mercy of the NCAA, who never knows what the hell they're doing and is always crying and begging for assistance as if they're the paupers when they're sitting there padding their wallets at every damn turn. And this man gets a $5 million raise, even though we know he would have gotten it from Ole Miss too. He gets a $5 million raise to go to a blue blood program, okay, that ain't in Oxford, Mississippi. And we're having a problem with this? Y'all got to be kidding me. You really, really need to stop. I'm serious. You're not this one. All that other stuff about Lane Kiffin, fine. This one right here, Paul, y'all are being ridiculous. Totally ridiculous.
I don't think the issue is him taking the job. The issue is
the repercussions that it has.
Yeah, you're still trying to coach a team that now you're a rivalry of. Like, that's the issue.
Whoa. Cam, stop.